If you're 20 years old and you have $1,000 to invest, where should you put it? Crypto, real estate, stocks, mutual funds, some type of investment? The answer is probably none of the above. The best investment when you're 20 years old is probably not just these traditional investments. Hi, my name is Jason Ellinger. I'm the CEO of Taika Translations, and I'm going to show you exactly where you should put that $1,000 to get the highest ROI, return on investment, for your money. Before we get into it, hit like and subscribe. It helps support the channel and helps me create more content just like this. All right, section number 1, invest in you. And this is going to be a common theme throughout this video, so hang on. Invest in you and your life. Education, not just assets. I'm not just talking about traditional education either. I'm talking about you learning stuff, and it may not be through a formal setting. The biggest mistake that most young people make about investing is they have a little pile of money and they all of a sudden think that, okay, now I'm this big investor. I need to go take this money that I have and invest in something that's going to grow without my effort over time. And where you're going to make the biggest return on investment is in you and the things that you can do to serve people around you. So many young people think they need to look at stocks or the S&P 500 or some kind of crowdfunding for real estate investing. Instead, you should take that money and focus on your life. And there are some very specific things that you should be focusing that money on to help you build your brand, your life, and your future. And so what I'm referring to are things like your personal finance. So if you just somehow got into a few $1,000s and now you have a little pile of money, you don't just stop there. That's not the end of the process. You didn't just, okay, I worked, I got this pile of money, and now I just need to invest this, and then my future is going to be bright. That's not the way it works. You need to take that money and build your financial plan for your life. So that means you probably need to go spend $100 and get a course on how to manage finances if you don't know how to already. Because if you have $1,000 and you don't know where to invest it, it means you don't know enough. There's a deficit in your understanding of what the process of building wealth over time is. So if that's the case, then it means you need to get some information, some knowledge, and some training to help you manage your finances for you. So this is personal education or coursework that you can do to make yourself better. But first and foremost, I would start making sure that I had a financial course to understand what steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, how many steps are in creating that financial future for yourself. Now, I talk about personal finance, and I've been working in counseling for personal finance with people for many years. That just seems like it's part of working with people to help them prosper as you become successful in some area of your life. And especially if you're successful in the area of finance, people just kind of naturally ask you how to work through challenges that they're facing in their life. And so I've had that opportunity to share with many people about how to get from where they are to where they want to be by learning the process of good financial management and focused financial management around what they want their future to look like. So you can get a course on personal finance, you can get a certification, and there's even programs out there where you can not only learn how to do your own personal finances, but you can learn to do personal finances and apply that service to other people and start helping other people with personal finances because you learned how to do personal finances. But first, you have to learn how to do it yourself, how to apply it to your life for your personal future, and then you can look around and help others. So in this point, it's all about you and your life. You becoming more knowledgeable about how to use your resources to make your life become better. We get too distracted on the shiny objects all around us and what people say here, what an investment person says on TikTok or TikTok or another media outlet, and we just get confused on what the right best way is. But the right best way is different for each person because you are you and they are not you. No one else is you. It's only you that invests the most in you or cares the most about your future. So your circumstances determine what you should do. So the first thing I would do if I had that money, I would invest in myself. I would learn how to do some financial management. And then I would also go and I would start working way more than I currently work, because you can save a lot more money if you just work more. You can get a lot more money if you just work more. Your best investment is you incorporated, you doing work for you incorporated. So many people don't realize the massive opportunities that they miss out on simply because they're not actively in the marketplace doing enough, serving more people. Because when you show up early and often, when you get out into the marketplace, you're working really hard and you're demonstrating your skills and talents and your ability to add value in the marketplace, people notice, because it's not that hard to outwork everybody else on your team. It's not that hard to be brighter and sharper than many people in the marketplace today, because honestly, the bar is pretty low. And if you just show up on time, stay off of Facebook while you're there, stay off of YouTube while you're there, and do your work with incredible diligence and put a smile on your face and have energy while you're working and not complain, you will probably be above 95% of everybody else in the marketplace. And when you do that, when you're in your work environment and you do that, you will be noticed. If you're not noticed by your boss, you will probably be noticed by somebody outside of their business and say, hey, that person's a really hard worker. Maybe they would like to come work for me, and they've got a better company with higher pay, and you can go work for them. I remember one time when I was in South Padre Island, I went to a small mom and pop shop restaurant, and me and my wife were sitting there, and then there was a group of executives from Taco Bell. They were sitting in the same restaurant, and this guy was the owner, mom and pop shop, right? This guy who was the owner of the restaurant, he was so enthused, so energetic, so positive, so outgoing. And these executives from Taco Bell, they're like, man, I wish that we could train our staff. Now, I'm not dissing Taco Bell. They're probably all really great people over there, and they're wonderful servers, and they do a great job training their people. But these were the executives at Taco Bell because they had an offsite retreat down on the island, and they're like, hey, I really wish that our team members could act like you're acting, because our restaurants would probably be massively successful, much more so than we are already, if they would just act like you and serve our clients just the way you're serving it. They're like, they said to this guy, hey, can we hire you to come work for us? And he was like, no way, not a chance. Because he had a great gig. He had a really cool food service business and many people who enjoy South Padre Island and that whole area. And he has a great and thriving business just because he serves people incredibly well. So if you show up early and often, if you serve incredibly well and you learn a few skills, then you can add so much more value to your life and increase the investment that you have a millionfold simply by being a better you incorporated. So you've got that $1,000 invested, right? But add to it by being the best worker in the entire company. If you do that, then you will attract opportunities like nothing else. And by the way, you can't just do it for a week. It has to be a long-term effort, a long-term true improvement in you, that you actually are way, way better than everyone else around you. And then you attract opportunities to you, where you're growing your skills, you're growing your knowledge, you're growing your ability to serve others, even in your current work opportunities. There's so many times when I've seen a waiter at a restaurant be offered a job simply because they're amazing. And they take that job and go into a professional field and they love it because it's something that they've been after. They talk to the people at the table, and the people at the table ask them questions, and lo and behold, the guy's a business owner, and he has a business owner that works in this place in the area that this young lady or this young man wants to serve in. And he's like, man, I've been working really hard to try to get into that industry, but I just, I haven't been able to. And these are the things that I love to do, and I'd love to be able to do. And the guy's like, well, why don't you give a call to our HR person tomorrow and let him know you talked to me, and we'll go from there. And opportunities like that come up all over the place as you're serving in the marketplace really well. So you being a better version of you incorporated, and just showing up early and often, putting a smile on your face, energy into what you're doing, and serving people incredibly well is the best place that you can learn to put your money in you. You will be noticed if you're noticeable. So be noticeable by outworking everyone. The second point is increase your earning potential. In your space, there are other opportunities for you to increase your earning potential. So if you're in the medical field or you can take a course like phlebotomy and increase or triple your income just in a very short period of time. There are many certifications probably in your space in some way, shape, or form that you can take and invest in those certifications. And sometimes your workplace will pay for those just because they've got a program and they need people in that area. And so you can just go and not even invest your money. You can get an investment from your workplace because they notice you for being one of the best in their office, and they notice that you're worth investing in, so they will invest in you. You don't even have to take your $1,000. They will take $1,000 and invest it in you so that you can increase your income because you provide better service for their organization. That's crazy. So you just doubled the amount of your money. You had 1,000, now you have a certification worth 2,000 and 100 times more than that, simply by being a great influencer, being a great service provider, or being a great team member. You can learn other high value skills. Some people are really good at connecting with other people, and they can learn sales and marketing. One of the biggest and most profitable skills that you can have is in the sphere of sales and marketing. Every single business on the planet needs people, really good people, who are sales and marketing masters. and you can improve your skills in sales and marketing. There's so much content online about this. There are courses that you can take for way less than $1,000 where you can become a guru in sales and marketing, whether it's email marketing, on the phone marketing, cold calling, or writing or creating content. This is something that every single business needs, and for a very small amount of money, you can ramp up your skills in this area. Probably for like $500, you can get started, and then invest a little more over time as you get into it and you get your service started, or you get into a company and you provide that service and you've got some skills that they need. And it's very, very easy to scale up very quickly if you've got the connection with people skills. And so many people do. So many people, even if they don't have the actual certified skills, their certificates or the skills, the educative skills, they have the personal skills already inside of them because they know how to connect with people, and people buy from people. So when you have the skills of sales and marketing, you can come in and to any company in the entire country and add value. And if you do that, if you come into any company and add value, believe me, they will notice and they will make sure you're promoted in that space. You can learn coding, you can learn videography, and all of these things make you 10 times, even 1,000,000 times more than what you currently are being able to make with the current amount of money that you may have. So while you're working harder than everybody else in your space, while you're showing up early and often and putting a smile on your face, staying off of social media while you're supposed to be working, and actually serving people incredibly well and connecting with them, skill up. Look for opportunities in your organization or in your world where you can add more skills to your profile. All right, so my next point goes into value creation, and that is money follows value. And I think that's the common theme throughout this entire video, that money follows value. And I'm hoping that you're understanding more and more at this point already. Marketplace sees you as valuable, and that's not necessarily if you have a degree or some kind of really expensive education. That's simply you being a high value asset in your space or in your community. If you can solve problems that people have and you do that really well, they will pay you for it. Instead of chasing passive income, which I don't really believe any income is truly passive that is long term, learn how to create value in the marketplace first. If you learn how to create value, that's a skill that never leaves you. You will always have it with you, and you will always be able to duplicate that in a new space. Once you do this, opportunities will always follow you and money will ensue. So how you do this is by looking around you in your community, in your space, in your neighborhood for problems that you can solve. They may be so abstract. You would never even think that a business could be created by that. In a previous video, I talked about how one business owner I know who owns a very successful and very lucrative business at this point of his life. He bought an old broken house and he tore out some old doors and put them on the side of the street. And then he walked out to those double swinging doors and he was looking at them and was like, well, they're kind of cool, nostalgic kind of thing. Maybe I'll post them on eBay. He posted them on eBay and people bought the hinges from the door. Two doors swinging, they both swing like this, just like the bar doors on an old saloon. They bought the hinges from the doors for more than $300. He was like, I was gonna just throw them away. And then he created an entire business line with multiple products line around that idea. And now he has a great and prosperous, flourishing business just based on that. Another kid, he went down the street and asked all of the people on the street if he could clean their trash cans. So he comes by and he cleans their trash cans on a weekly basis and charges them a small fee. And they're happy to pay him for that because he solves a problem that they have that they didn't want to deal with. Another kid started a business. This is the craziest one. It's kind of nasty, but he went to people who had dogs or animals, and he said, look, I will come by your house once or twice a week. I will scoop all the poop in your yard, and I will solve this problem of having poop all over your yard, and I'll scoop it up and throw it away, and you won't have to deal with it. But I'll come by twice a week, and you can pay me for that, and I'll solve this problem for you. And they paid him to do this. For my first time in my life, I'd never seen this ever. And I'm not sure if you could have done this 20 years ago, but you can do it today. A man who does over $1 million per year in revenue simply by scooping poop. Now that is a lot of poop. That's a lot of dog poop. I don't know how he started this business, but that's a problem that people have, and that you can go and offer a service to solve the problem, add value to these people's lives, and they will pay you good money for that. They pay really good money for somebody to come by, spend 30 minutes walking around their yard picking up poop. At the end of that, their yard's nice and clean. The people are happy. They give them a check and or Venmo them the money, and they're on their way and they go to the next client. And you can provide value in your community just like that. But it's just a creative mindset of looking in your world and saying, okay, what do people need? What bothers people that I could solve? Maybe you don't even need a certification. Like for picking up dog poop, you probably don't need a certification. The principle is learn to find problems that people face and start providing solutions for those problems. This takes very little money. It's just an investment of you, and you incorporate it. I even heard recently about a service that a woman provides, and you have to be certified in whatever areas you're going to provide services. So you have to be careful about state laws in this area. But she provided the service of having moms bring children to her house, and they have a book reading session, and she reads books till children. Another woman, I heard she's a storyteller, and she tells stories to children, and people actually show up at the storytelling session, pay her money for her to tell stories. It's incredible benefit for the kids because there's tons of cognitive and developmental research around reading books to kids or telling stories to kids, the actual human interaction there, and how much better they learn and how much safer and more comfortable they feel. And when people feel safe and comfortable, obviously they're better humans altogether. So there's tons of research around this. And so there's an infinite number of opportunities for you to serve in our community. But I think one of the biggest problems is we've been taught to consume for so long. We've been trained to consume. We've been trained to consume on YouTube, on Facebook, on Amazon. We can get stuff on our doorstep within 2 hours from time of order. And we've learned to be consumers. But once you look around and you just try to convert yourself not into simply a consumer, but to somebody who actually goes out and solves problems in your marketplace, all of a sudden you realize that you don't need much of an investment to 10 times or 100x your income. You simply need to be able to develop the skill of looking into your communities and your marketplace, into your world. Maybe it's your local church or some of your local community groups and your local community Facebooks, and see what everybody's complaining about and see if you can solve that problem for them and come up with a solution. And if you can, and you can do it for a lot of people, boom, you've got a small business. You've 10 times your income, and you didn't even have to make that much of an investment. All right, so the fourth thing you can do is learn from courses, mentors, and experts. And this is something that I, for many years now, been part of a mastermind group, and now I'm starting to host mastermind groups and help other people and teach other people. And I mentioned the personal finance counseling that I've done for many families earlier. I never, I never charged for any of that because most of these people who were asking me were my friends previously. But I learned from mentors and experts and coaches. And when you learn from mentors, experts, and coaches, you can move ahead in your timeline of you to success. You can cut out a huge chunk of time when you start, fail, analyze, improve, start, fail, analyze, improve, start, fail, less, analyze, improve, start, fail, less and less, analyze and improve, start, fail, finally make a tiny bit of a profit. And you get the idea, because the circle keeps going on until you start making profit, and you actually, then you can 10x, 100x, and 1,000x, and 1,000,000x your profit, because you've gone through so many times through that cycle. But one of the ways that you can skip a huge chunk of the initial steps is by investing in coaches, mentors, or listening to experts on the subject that you're working in, and including business development, personal development, financial development, and all types of things. So in this case, you're not just buying knowledge, you're buying time. And any time that you can trade time for money, and it actually adds more time to your life, because you don't have to go through so many revolutions to actually become successful, it's well worth it. So this specific section helps you to not only eliminate some of the trial and error, but fast forward our ability to get from where we are to where we actually produce massive profit that causes us to be able to 10x all of the investments. And anytime you can do something like this, I think this is one of the key reasons why, when you have $1,000 and you want to figure out where to invest it, you could invest it in the S&P 500. And over the past, 40 years, it's made like a 9.7 or something like that rate of return, somewhere in that vicinity, right? If you invest something in yourself in the next 5 years, you will probably be able to 10 or 50x the amount that you invested in yourself. And that investment is worth vastly more. The comparison is not even anywhere in the ballpark of where if you would invest it in a fund or a stock or some kind of crowdfunded real estate investment. Uh, it's not even in the ballpark. Whereas if you would invest it in you, and then you would provide a service, and then you would learn how to provide that service better, and then you would go through the process of trial, error, and improvement enough times to where you actually got good at the thing that you do, and then you provide it to more people. They appreciate that thing, and they give you more money because they're like, hey, you helped us do that thing, you do it really well, and we'll pay you for more of this thing that you do really well. So this helps us at the end of the day to be standing on top of the pile of mistakes that we made instead of standing underneath it. And so many people are standing underneath the pile of mistakes that they made. And those mistakes, they just never get through the process of trial, error, and into profit. But the people who actually invest in mentors, coaches, and experts to help them along their way, those are the ones that get to stand on top of the pile much, much faster. So a great place to invest some of that money that you have is in coaches, mentors, and experts. Some of your best mentorship, especially at first, comes from the pages of books written by incredible men and women who have gone before us. Moving on to step 5. One skill is good, but many skills are better. By stacking multiple skills on top of each other, like videography, marketing, sales, some basic understanding of bookkeeping, that makes you unstoppable. More skills that you have, and the deeper you know those skills, the more you can charge for your time and expertise. You start with one skill. Like if you've never saved money in your life, which you probably have $1,000 by now, so that's why you're watching this video. But if you've never saved money in your life, eventually, and then you save $5,000 a month, or then you can save $5,000 a week if you start to build upon build upon build. And that's the whole idea, is that you start building upon building upon building, so that you can actually stack your skills instead of just have a single skill that you do well, that once the market is disrupted, you may become obsolete. And eventually, as you serve the marketplace really well and you build this brand around you incorporated, your trust for you, your person, and the things you bring to the marketplace incorporated, you're going to be able to bring other skills that you do not do into your service offering that you can give to other people. And you're going to be able to leverage that service that they provide. And these are affiliates, and these are other people who do something kind of similar, but somewhere in proximity to the service that you provide. And you can bring them in and sell their services to the same clients that you have. And when you do this, you mark up their services. You don't even have to do the work. They do the work. And you are offering their service because you have a trust brand. You're built trust for your brand in the marketplace. And you've done it so well that people just come to you. They trust you for providing them a service and making sure they're getting care of. And when you have another product or service in your marketplace that somebody else provides that's affiliated through you or works for you or works with you, then you're able to provide and mark up that service and provide it to that client. And that greatly enhances your ability to increase your value in the marketplace and serve more people. And this is simply the idea of building business. Once you build a business, you provide this thing. Well, now we can provide maybe this thing and this thing and this thing. Which one of these products are going to work? Which one of these services are going to be best for our clients? How can we continue to build our trust by adding more of these services and providing more value to them? And the story continues as you add more value for the people that will do business with you. And if you continue to do that over time, you can add other people's services into the mix, charge a premium for that, and offer those and grow your business and your trust. You're not even growing their reputations, you're growing your reputation, because now you're able to serve more people with more services and skills that you can add to your mix simply by adding other people with those great skills into your processes. All right, so point number 6 that I want to give you today is shifting your mindset from spending to investing. Many years ago, when I started creating our financial future for our family and our business and growing us over time. And I think this maybe happens more when you're able to make more money than you need to operate your household, or you are choosing to spend less than you make to operate your household. Because for most people, it's a choice that they don't intentionally make, to spend less than their income. They just kind of get caught in this trap of buying more and more things and getting more and more payments. And then all of a sudden they have more payments than their income is, and they feel like they're sinking because they're sinking. Instead, taking the resources that you have from your paycheck and thinking about them as you're investing money in something rather than you're just spending money. And this is a mindset shift that must happen in your brain if you're going to go from just being a consumer to being an investor, to being somebody who actually grows your life or grows you incorporated. So wealthy people see the addition of skills or education not as an expense, but as an investment in our future. Every dollar that we spend on knowledge, skills, and mentorship have the potential to bring 10x, 100x, 1,000x, sometimes a million x of what you invested. And so this is a really critical mindset shift that you have to have if you're going to go from simply existing to thriving. And so that's taking the resources that you have and looking at them as a investment that you can take and administrate rather than just a pile of money that you have to spend to live. The seventh and final point. I know it's been long to get here, guys, but listen up. Building wealth is like a 50-year journey, and all of a sudden at the end, you could become an overnight success. Sounded like an oxymoron, right? But that's literally how it feels sometimes. You've worked really hard for a long period of time, longer than you think you should. And then all of a sudden, at some point, you're like, holy cow, I actually have a huge pile of money. I got a stack. Like, that's crazy. And you're like, I was just working, focused, I was investing, I was paying attention to what I was doing and adding more value. And all of a sudden you encounter an incredible level of wealth that you didn't realize that you could accomplish. And then you look into the future, it's like, oh my gosh, if I did this, how much more can I do? And so this part is about focused intensity. You do all of these things over a long period of time and you stay consistent. Jumping from one idea to the next idea, to the next idea, to the next idea is the shiny object syndrome. You start to achieve a little bit of success and then you look over here and you think, oh, well, that will be easier to get success in that area, or that will be easier to go over there and do success in that area. But that's not the case. You have to stay consistent at the things that you do well, at the relationships that you do well, at the service and the value you provide well to the marketplace. And you have to stay very consistent over many, many years in order to build true lasting wealth, in order for your investment into that course or in the expertise that you're learning from to be able to take and multiply itself 10, 100, and even more times in your lifetime. So you find something that you can serve, some area that you can serve, and a skill that you have or a skill that you can develop. And then you invest in that over a long period of time by improving all along the way. Do it for much longer than you think you should, because all along the way, you're making some money from this, you're improving, and you're seeing some progress. Start adding some other services in that area that are in close proximity to that thing so you can make more money from the brand that you've been creating, and simply stay the course. This guy does $300 million per year in business. Is like, I just expected at some point in my life that it was going to get much easier. And although that guy's a billionaire now, and he's like, it doesn't get easier. Nobody calls you one day, shows up and gives you billions and billions and billions. You simply have to keep grinding day after day after day. You have to do the thing that you do well, provide the service you provide well, implement new, learn new things, and add to your mix and work to build You Incorporated, your brand over time, and do it incredibly, incredibly well, managing your personal finances, investing in you early and often, making sure you have a stable financial position and you're investing in your future, and just do it for a long time. And don't give up and don't get discouraged. Life goes up and down. It has all types of seasons throughout it. But over the long term, you want your bell curve to go like this, not like that. And so if you do it well over the long period of time, you don't get discouraged, making sure you're keeping your mind and heart healthy and you're adding to the services you can provide over time, you will prosper. I guarantee it, because the marketplace recognizes service and value created. And when that's done over time, you will be rewarded. My brother-in-law has a small mechanic shop, and inside their client waiting area, they just had the idea to put a small stand where they put pecan brittle on the stand. And every week, every jar of pecan brittle is sold, and they make thousands of dollars, sometimes more money off of the pecan stand than they make off of one of their single repairs that they're doing in their car service. And it's like, wait a minute, all we did was put a stand that was like $15 and put peanut brittle on it. That my sister makes incredible peanut brittle. They add it to the stand, and by the end of, they just fill up the stand. By the end of the week, all of it's gone, because people love this. Like they even refill it multiple times per week. Why? Because they added value for people that they're serving. They're currently serving these people, fixing their cars and stuff. And while these people are sitting there waiting for their oil to be changed or air filters or whatever they're doing on their car, they're sitting there like, oh my gosh, there's peanut brittle. And not a lot of people can sell that or even make it that good. So they're like, oh man, I better buy some of this. And so they enjoy that. And it's a incredible value add for their company. And there's things that you can do just like that. if you just try, if you just pay attention to what people around you need. And you can add those simple things to your life. $1,000 that you have, you can just invest in that thing and it will help so many more people, making their life a little more pleasant. If it simply makes somebody's life more pleasant, if it just puts a smile on their face and you've added value to them, they'll pay you for that. I mean, think about peanut brittle. Just think about that. It's not incredibly healthy for you, but it just makes the people feel happier. That's value enough. And once you add value to their life in that way, and they pay good money for it. I think so many people get mixed up in is like, well, I have to go invest money in this big thing or invest in this and that. And just like, no, invest in yourself, in what you can do for the people around you that they can pay you for. And it may be something very simple. Baking sourdough bread, reading to kids, scooping poop, washing trash cans, mowing grass. I mean, my brother and I used to mow grass when I was from 14 till 18 years old before I went to United States Air Force. And we had a business where we made $4,000 a month cutting grass and just cutting grass, cutting and weed eating, blowing the driveways. That's it. And so you can find opportunities just like that and just invest in yourself. I mean, just buying a push mower, that's even cheaper than $1,000. You can just go buy one for like a few $100s from Home Depot and then go start cutting people's grass. In conclusion, these things don't depreciate. Once you begin to add value and build your brand, that doesn't depreciate over time. You might buy something, buy an asset of some kind, and that thing can depreciate, and it probably will. But if you invest in yourself and what you can add and your trust in the market around you, that never depreciates. That only amplifies in value as you continue to be available in the marketplace. So invest your $1,000 in yourself by starting a solid financial foundation, learning how to manage your money, removing years of your life, and look for opportunities that don't require a ton of money to get up off the ground and get you making more income today. They are there. I promise you they exist. You just have to have an open mind and shift your mind from being a consumer to actually a value producer in the marketplace. Subscribe to this channel if it's been valuable for you and if this content has helped you in any way. And if it has, share it with somebody else. I would greatly appreciate that. In addition, I would like you to drop in the comments below, what is the best investment that you have ever made? And that one comment that you add might be the catalyst for someone else watching this video who just needs a little bit of inspiration behind what they can do to provide more value in their area. See you in the next video.